You're watching the Fox 5 Morning News at 7.
Pet adoptions went up 116% in the second half of March, according to Pet Finder. And those with those new pets, come new expenses. Fox 5 financial analyst Chase Wilsey joining us now. Chase, good morning.
Good morning, Raoul. How are you doing?
So the good news is all the shelters are so happy that they're all cleared out. Everybody's getting a new furry friend at home. How much do Americans really spend on vet bills every year, for example, because it's a big business?
You know, I knew it was a big business, but I was kind of blown away when I saw the number. The average, according to this number here, is over $24 billion is what pet owners are spending on medical expenses. It's quite high.
It really is. Your suggestions now when it comes to pet expenses, because we've had our dog now as of yesterday for 1 year. And it's been great, but you go through the vet thing, you go through the pet insurance thing, and you got to figure out what's best for you and for your family.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there's so many different financing options that you see out there. There's so many other recommendations that you see out there. It really does kind of come down to your situation, what you're kind of looking for, your attachment to the pet as well.
Okay, so pet insurance, emergency funds, CareCredit, kind of explain those, if you will.
Yeah, so I mean, pet insurance, it's a great thing, and you can't think of it as an investment necessarily because, you know, it has been found by the consumer checkbook that most people don't save on pet insurance, which makes sense because those insurance companies do have to make money on it to keep their business running.
Sure.
It's more of a safety net where you don't get pushed up against the idea of, you know, economic euthanasia when people can't afford that pet bill and they're forced to put that pet down. So that's kind of what the pet insurance comes with, but very important you understand the different intricacies of the pet insurance. I mean, you have the deductible, kind of like you do with health insurance. You have, you know, the reimbursement level, which is how much that insurance company is going to reimburse you from the expenses. You also want to make sure and understand, well, what illnesses are actually covered with that.
Right.
Some pet insurance actually covers advertising costs if you lose that pet. Others only cover accidents. So there's a lot of discrepancies between the policies, and some have caps on the annual max. So you could have a bill that's, let's say, $20,000, but your annual max is only $10,000, so you still have to come up with $10,000.
Right.
There's so much to it that you really have to understand.
And so you'd say like the average cost of pet insurance, some employers offer that. What are we looking at here in terms of
So I mean, again, it's really all over the board. I mean, you have premiums that go from $20 a month to several $100s a month. And of course, the more complex the plan is, the more expensive it's going to be. And you do want to make sure as well that the premiums don't rise substantially as that pet ages, because you could get stuck with premiums climbing drastically as that pet gets, you know, 9, 10, 11 years old. It's like, oh my gosh, this is just not sustainable for me anymore. Sometimes it could even drop you if there's not continuing coverage in that policy.
The emergency fund, how much should we budget for that?
You know, it's so important here. I've seen kind of different ideologies here that people say, oh, you should set an emergency fund just for your pet. Personally, I don't like that idea. I mean, then it's kind of coming down to, well, should I have an emergency fund for my car, for my personal health expenses, for, you know, my house? Then you have all these different bank accounts that it just kind of gets convoluted.
Yeah.
I think it's far better just to, again, have your emergency fund set for about 3 to 6 months of non-discretionary expenses, and that should cover different emergencies as they come up. Replenish that over time. Your pet owners, you should definitely have at least 3 to 6 months in cash and an emergency fund in case that does occur.
That's good advice. CareCredit, how does that work?
You know, CareCredit, this is an amazing product in my opinion. It's done by Synchrony Financial. What it does is it provides a line of credit. And what it essentially does is it breaks out a large expense over several months. I also got a pet last year. Unfortunately, he came down with parvo. The bill came out to be a couple $1,000s. Used CareCredit, was able to spread that expense out over 6 months, and then didn't even have to pay any interest on that. So it's an interest-free loan, but you have to make sure you repay that within the set time frame. Otherwise, that interest rate can be quite high.
If you do enough research, and I'm glad you're bringing this up, you can find charities who can help you out, because you mentioned the euthanasia. Some people can't afford the vet bills and they feel like they have no choice. But if you get involved with some charities and ask around, there are ways that they can help you.
Oh, absolutely. And I actually have a coworker. She had a cat that came down with an illness last year as well. She found the FACE Foundation. It's a terrific foundation. They've actually saved over 2,500 pets from facing that economic euthanasia, paid out $5 million in grants for those people that were faced in that difficult situation, because they do want to help those pets. So it's a terrific foundation to look around and see if they can help you. And also, if they do help you, hey, give back to it and pay it forward, essentially, because you could really help some other pet owners there as well.
Really great advice this morning. Chase Wilsey, we thank you for the time as always.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right.